Well, those who rely on the Gulf of Mexico for fresh Louisiana seafood say it will be tough to convince consumers that the seafood harvested out of the Gulf right now is good to eat. According to an Associated Press report, while Gulf fisheries have started to reopen more than 3 months after hundreds of millions of gallons of oil gushed into the sea from the British Petroleum Deepwater Horizon oil rig, seafood industry leaders say things are far from normal. The Gulf accounts for a majority of domestic shrimp and oysters eaten by Americans and about 2% of overall U.S. seafood consumption across the country. But consumers have turned up their noses, and some seafood suppliers have now turned to imports. Director of the Louisiana Seafood Marketing and Promotion Board, EWELL Smith, told This Week in Louisiana Agriculture by telephone that the industry has a huge perception problem. Smith says it could take 5 or more years to rebuild the brand, but there is some good news. There's plenty of support for Louisiana seafood, including the White House.
On Monday, while we were at the White House celebrating the Saints' recognition for the Super Bowl win, he mentioned that we were going to be building a 30-foot long shrimp and oyster pool boy for the White House staff that had been working so hard on the oil spill. And he talked about the safety of the seafood, and that was a major step forward for us, for that to come from the president himself. The first primary goal is, one, we've got to reinstill consumer confidence regarding safety. It's so important that these federal agencies, including our state agencies, come together, the public health agencies, come together to rebuild the brand, to rebuild consumer confidence. And they need to do that in a very coordinated effort, all at the same time, so the consumer can understand it in plain English.
Smith says some markets for Louisiana seafood have been lost for good, even though state and federal tests show the samples of the Gulf seafood in some areas are safe to eat.